Hello everyone. Today we're going to continue looking at paragraph writing using the same paragraph as the first session in the Structuring Paragraphs series. Our aim today is to explore linking your ideas in order to create varied and engaging sentence beginnings. By the way, please stop at any time to examine the text in relation to these comments in order to ensure you have properly digested the points. Let's begin. In the first sentence, I have introduced the main idea with the adverbial phrase "in her book." In her book answers the question where she compares her life to that of Cinderella. If you prefer to write "in her autobiography," that would be fine also. However, you would then need to change the last sentence to read something like, "However, the ill treatment she suffered at the hands of her stepmother was clearly not forgotten, as it is central to this memoir of her childhood." In this way, you would not be repeating autobiography in the concluding sentence. At this point, let me say that just as a conclusion to an essay should never merely repeat the introduction, so the concluding sentence of a paragraph should never be a carbon copy of the topic sentence. The conclusion should reflect the journey the reader has taken from the main idea through the evidence to a broader and deeper understanding of the topic that was introduced, even though its point is to make a final, convincing statement to reinforce that main idea introduced in the topic sentence. Did you get that? You may wish to rewind and repeat that bit. And just have a look at those two bold sentences, the introduction and the conclusion, and just notice that they're not exactly the same, whereas a lot of people do tend to make them very similar if they remember to put a concluding sentence at all. So they do not have to be the same, and they shouldn't be the same. Returning to topic sentences, please note that there are many ways to begin a paragraph and a sentence, so don't feel restricted in any way to these examples. As we go through the paragraph, you will see a variety of ways to introduce your thoughts and show how they are connected. I've begun the second sentence with an adverbial phrase that identifies the time frame of the experience she recounts. For the most part, Yen Ma concentrates on her childhood. During her childhood answers the question when she was treated as inferior to her half-siblings. Though the first two sentences use adverbial phrases, they answer different questions about the verb. Now let's look at sentence 3. Do you often have sentences beginning with "it" in your writing? This sentence could have read, "It was not surprising that Adeline felt neglected, since her father couldn't even remember her name or her age." By simply rearranging the order of the main clause and the subordinate clause, you now have the sentence beginning with the conjunction since. Rearranging the order of the information in your sentence can often help you create a more interesting sentence beginning. In the next sentence, an adverbial phrase is used again. But you could introduce the point with a different adverbial phrase, such as, "Whilst celebrating Big Sister's marriage, Adeline overheard a guest remarking that Adeline and her siblings were treated very differently from the youngest children." This would change the focus from where she overheard the conversation to when she heard it. Looking at the next sentence, you can see another strategy for beginning a new sentence and linking it to the previous information. This is one of my favorites. Using a noun phrase to begin a sentence can really add interest to your writing. In this case, "hearing this" could be replaced by the pronoun "it," but it is much more engaging to use the phrase "hearing this confirmed for Adeline" rather than it confirmed for Adeline. In the following sentence, again, we have a case of avoiding a dull word. There is nothing more boring than the repeated use of a pronoun, article, or name to begin your sentences. How can you avoid this? It's simple. Reverse the order of the information so that the subordinate clause goes before the main clause. Through dedicating herself to her studies and winning public acclaim for her writing, will then precede Adeline was able to break free of her Cinderella life and begin a new life in England. In this way, you've avoided beginning a sentence with Adeline. It's much more engaging to begin with the adverbial phrase through dedicating herself to her studies, which shows how she was able to break free. Finally, beginning with the conjunction however effectively, here we go, prepares the reader for a point that is going to bring in a contrast to the supposed happy ending. And this refers back to the trauma Yen Ma suffered as a child. Again, this compound sentence could have begun with the definite article the ill treatment she suffered, which would have been a very lame way to begin the concluding statement. Moreover, it would have failed miserably to show the connection between the strong conclusive statement and the evidence that preceded it. Okay, so let's summarise. There are a multiplicity of ways to link your ideas that will also help to vary your sentence beginnings and ensure your writing has a stronger impact on the reader. The examples below have all been used in the paragraph we looked at, but there are many more. We have noted the use of noun phrases, in which a group of words is used that could be replaced by a noun or pronoun. The noun phrase identifies or draws the reader's attention to the subject in hand, such as the book. Then there are adverbial phrases, showing the reader when, where, how, or why an action was undertaken. And we've seen that it is possible to rearrange the order of a sentence, putting the subordinate clause at the beginning of the sentence. We also noted the use of the conjunctions since and however in order to show the way in which parts of a sentence or complete sentences are linked, allowing the reader to follow the writer's reasoning. So there we have it. Are you using these strategies to link your ideas in your writing? If not, keep having a look back at this video clip to remind you of simple ways you can engage your reader more successfully. The next clip in this series will reinforce these lessons related to linking your ideas well and maintaining the most effective structure for your paragraphs. I recommend you check it out. Turn your writing from merely right to riveting. Au revoir.